Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Let me go live. 2 minutes. Testing 1 2 3.
NBC News on KCAA Loma Linda, sponsored by Teamsters Local 1932, protecting the future of working families. Teamsters1932.org.
NBC News Radio. I'm Chris Caraccio. Sean Diddy Combs could see about 4 to 5 years in prison. The New York jury found him guilty of transporting people for prostitution, but not guilty of sex trafficking and racketeering, so he could be released on bond until sentencing. In court today, prosecutors told the judge the sentencing guidelines range from 51 to 63 months. They added they still don't want bond given to the rap mogul. Procedural votes are being held to advance President Trump's massive spending bill in the House. An hour of debate on the legislation will take place following the procedural vote. The bill squeaked through the Senate yesterday with Vice President Vance forced to cast a tie-breaking vote. Some moderate Republicans met with Trump to discuss the bill at the White House earlier today. Several lawmakers also haven't been able to return to Washington yet because of severe weather across portions of the country. And Brian Koberger has pled guilty to murdering 4 University of Idaho students in a Boise court today. He sat motionless while accepting a plea deal that takes the death penalty off the table. I'm Chris Caraccio, NBC News Radio.
Not sure how much you know about Progressive Insurance. You may know us for insuring your home and auto. You may know a couple of our commercials. But what you may not know is that since 2013, Progressive has been honoring veterans with vehicle donations through the annual Keys to Progress Veteran Vehicle Giveaway Program, giving back to those who gave so much. Now, you probably didn't wake up today saying, I really wish I knew more about Progressive Insurance, but this seemed like the type of thing people wouldn't mind hearing about. Find out more about how we're dedicated to our customers and communities at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
This is Gary Garver. In these trying times, many people are depressed and lost because the future of our society is up in the air. People turn to drastic measures, including the abuse of drugs and alcohol. If you're going through these troubling times and turning to substance abuse because you're feeling there is no hope, we have a way for you to see the light. SAD, or Stop Abusing Drugs and Alcohol, is a nonprofit organization that will help you, at no cost to you, stop abusing drugs or alcohol. Founded by Tony Navarchi, SAD will refer you to the top detox doctors in your area. If you're having financial hardships, SAD will pay every and any cost for you, including doctor visits, counseling, and medications. Save your life and contact Tony. You can reach out to him by calling him personally at 310-999-1887 or visit the website saddetox.com. That's SADDETOX.com.
One of the best ways to build a healthier local economy is by shopping locally. Teamster Advantage is a shop local program started by Teamster Local 1932 that has brought together hundreds of locally owned businesses to provide discounts for residents who make shopping locally their priority. Everything from restaurants like Corky's to fun times at SB Raceway and much, much more. If you're not currently a Teamster and you want access to these local business discounts, contact Jennifer at 909-889-8377, extension 224. Give her a call. That number again is 909-889-8377, extension 224.
I always hear from our clients who hired another firm that they wish they'd hired DNA Financial first. Don't have regrets about your IRS tax case. Just hire the best in the first place.
One owed $150,000 to the IRS and had spent thousands on another firm. We stopped the levies, negotiated a payment plan, and had their penalties forgiven.
And while every case is different, we guarantee that we'll find your perfect resolution and get it done right.
For a free consultation, call us at 866-201-0156. That's 866-201-0156. Then you can say, DNA did right by me.
Here's the KCAA Community Calendar for the month of July. The Redlands Theater Festival presents their 53rd season of Theater Under the Stars in Prospect Park. 5 productions in rotating repertory. There is something for everyone to enjoy. This year's lineup includes Young Frankenstein, Radio Gals, The Spitfire Grill, You Can't Take It With You, and The Thanksgiving Play. Tickets and show schedule is available at rtfseason.com. The 102nd Redlands Bowl Summer Music Festival will present free performances every Tuesday and Friday evening throughout the month of July. Enjoy music of world-class performers under the stars. Arrive early with your picnic dinner or buy something to eat at their snack bar. Seating is first come, first served. Performances begin at 8 p.m. This year's musical is Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, July 24th through the 27th. So many wonderful performances all summer long, located near downtown Redlands. If sports is more your liking, there's plenty of single-A professional baseball with 3 locations in the Inland Empire. The 66ers in San Bernardino, the Quakes in Rancho Cucamonga, and the Storm in Lake Elsinore. Check their website for at-home games and game time. On Wednesday nights beginning at 6 p.m., it's the weekly Locana League at Board Game Paradise. Whether you're a seasoned player or just starting out, the Locana League is the perfect opportunity to dive into the magical world of Locana Disney, meet fellow fans, and enjoy some friendly competition. The cost is $10, located at 109 East State Street in Redlands. And that's the latest from the KCAA Community Calendar. I'm Lillian Vasquez on KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM.
Rice Fire Protection reminds listeners that more and more veterans will be returning home over the next few years, and many are local. These heroes have elite military training and valuable professional skills. They also need jobs too. That's why Rice Fire Protection is encouraging all local businesses. Let's make it the year we hire smart and hire vets. That's a message from Rice Fire Protection at 24300 Vera Lane in Moreno Valley. For top quality service at prices you can afford, call 951-243-6677. That's 951-243-6677 for Rice Fire Protection.
Welcome to the Worker Power Hour with Randy Corrigan, a brand new show about labor and worker issues. The host of the show is Randy Corrigan, Secretary Treasurer and Principal Office and leader of Teamsters 1932, one of the largest public sector labor unions on the West Coast, representing workers in government and non-sworn law enforcement personnel. Randy Corrigan is a 30-year Teamster who first became involved in the labor movement by volunteering his time as an organizer with the Teamsters Union at the age of 21. Since then, he's helped thousands organize, mobilize, and achieve bargaining rights. He accomplished this by spending countless hours with brave men and women all over Southern California, in their living rooms, on the picket line, to bring workers towards victory. This is the Worker Power Hour. And now here's the host of the show, Randy Corrigan.
We're back. Randy Corrigan in the Worker Power Hour, KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and the Teamsters 1932 Broadcast Network. You know, I kind of like that new music coming in. It's like hot coming in, and it's like something's coming. Something's coming down the tracks, and we got to get ready to run this show.
That's what Robert and I came up with. We think we're going to stick with this as our intro now.
It might be. It might be. Well, I would love to hear listeners and what they think if they like this intro. We have to be now careful what intro music we use because there's actually copyright issues. that we're running to. Now that the show's becoming more popular, I guess people are complaining about the music we play is as it's on other platforms, you can't actually use that music, which I understand. I get that. I'm not complaining. We just have to make an adjustment.
The way I see it, if you had lunch and now it's 2 o'clock and you're getting that carb hangover, we'll just wake you up a little bit.
Just get a coffee and listen to that music for 9 seconds, and you should be ready to run laps around the building, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, worker, long-time organizer, first-time radio host. Like I said, I'm still going to claim this status all the way through my sophomore year, and I may even do it again next year or the year after. Who knows? The cool thing about having your own show is I get to say it as long as I want, or until the listeners stop listening and say, Randy, we're not going to listen to you anymore because you're not a long-time organizer, first-time radio host anymore. You're a long-time organizer, kind of first-time radio host.
I don't see you giving up the organizer title.
Well, I'm never going to give that up. Like,
So that's just
I'd
not
love to
gonna
be
happen.
in that space, right?
That's not gonna happen.
Anyway, it's good to have everybody back. We had second week in a row. Obviously, a record for the last month. We had a few weeks last month where I was traveling and had to be out and couldn't make it. I know that our comms coordinator here said I was on vacation the entire month, but I'm going to drag him around with me next time I'm on vacation and show him what my alleged vacation appears to be. I'm blaming you, Robert. That's how it works. That's cool. That's the cool thing about being. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, it's July 2nd. Obviously, our last show was on June 25th. We were joined by our Teamster Advantage partner, Daniel from Brewster's Ice Cream in Rancho Cucamonga, and they've got a new location coming to Eastvale as well. And they are going to be offering up 20% for the entire month of July, so don't miss out. And unfortunately, I know in the last show I was hoping I can get by there on Friday. I was unable to get by there on Friday, and I'm definitely looking forward to getting over there, and I'm definitely looking forward to hearing people talk about the pineapple, the coconut pineapple ice cream, or the vanilla ice cream, or all the different other ice creams. But he came in and did a pretty good job of describing all the stuff that's going on. All the flavors that they have. Yeah.
Wasn't Robert supposed to bring ice cream to today's show? I swear that's what we talked about.
Yeah, what's the deal? You're supposed to have a bunch of tasters out here. No, Robert? You forgot? I say you go back and listen to last week's show, and I thought you committed to doing it on the show. And oh boy. Oh, wait, this is fun. All right.
I'm getting out of that.
We also were joined by Noni Thompson, who is an LVN at ARMC, and boy, man, she came on, really did a great job of describing the work that she does at ARMC. She described the things she deals with in the community. She described how important her job is, and man, she described how much she loved her job. And she really came out how much she really likes doing what she's doing because she can give back, and she's not just going to try to jump to another, try to level up and go somewhere else. She really feels like she's giving back to her community, and she's doing a job where she can just really engage her community on the highest level possible, and she feels very rewarded in that. So, Noni, you did a great job of coming in and describing that. Boy, it was phenomenal. Really appreciate the work you do, and we really appreciate the sacrifice you make working in the job you do within the community and purposely deciding to be in that space and making sure that you give back on a regular basis. Working in the ER, the emergency room at ARMC has got to be extremely challenging, and you have to be dealing with things every day. And it's good to know that a Teamster is there to make sure that everything is as good as it can be for those individuals in extreme need in those moments. Makes you proud to be a Teamster in moments like that, especially when she was describing a lot of the things she deals with coming into the ER. And lastly, we were joined by James, our James Bites Back special here that has kind of taken its own life, and now he's gonna have groups of people go to locations and not just himself testing all the food. I guess the cool thing about that is you can test more food or test more services when there's multiple. They're going to do Teamster days at our Teamster Advantage partner. And James really did a good job of describing the Spirit of Texas. He went to the Spirit of Texas and had their banana pudding, mac and cheese, pulled pork, and barbecue. Also, Kuka's in Yucaipa. He had tried their nacho fries, tacos, chips, and salsa. And then it reminded me of Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory in Redlands there, that he tried the chocolate-covered strawberries and the carameled apples there. So all TA partners. Yeah, you got something you want to say, Mark?
So that group event we're planning, we're looking at August 14th, about 6:30. And I just want to nail down the restaurant before we put it on air. So if everybody's listening, we're going to get as many Teamsters as possible.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I like the idea. Let's get some commitments ahead of time. Maybe give the business a bit of a heads up. We're talking through that, and it looks like a date's been picked on the calendar, and now we're going to figure out who. We'll announce it to everybody where to go, and it sounds like fun. I mean, it really does. I like how an idea literally turned into something that we're now having fun with on the show, and we're engaging more members in the process, but also spreading the word at how important our Teamster Advantage program is, how connected we are to the local community. And so, James, we appreciate you doing all the taste testing out there. That saves me a lot of weight. It saves me a lot of calories, and I love you, bro, just for you doing that, just for you taking that burden off of me, even though I really would love to go to all these places and eat all the same food that you are. I can live vicariously through him, as we all can. And so this is a reminder to download the KCAA app in the Apple Store or Google Play Store. And if you want to reach our radio show, please contact the radio show at teamsters1932.org. And feel free to email us. You know what I forgot to do is I forgot to actually tee up the shout-outs, the live shout-outs on my screen here. My apologies, everybody. And so for live shout-outs, as we get into that, we have listening in live, LaRae Robinson and Linda Haro at TAD, Jeff Horn and Ryan Shrouds at CFS, Nadal Rafidi at ARMC, Kurt Garrison at the Crime Lab, Connie Bottini at Library, Andrew Marquez at WV, I'm assuming West Valley Detention Center, LVN Stewart, Sal Carranza at the West Valley Detention Center, SCS. Just had a baby girl. Congratulations to you. Olivia Gabera at ARMC, Ashley Moda, Krista Kunter, Amanda Montoya, Chaz Kelly. Krista, thank you for always listening in. It's like you're almost every single week you're listening in live. Appreciate you listening in live, and see you. I think I just saw you a couple days at the Neo, and always a great job, Neo, doing the best you can at getting people signed up on day one. Jonathan Steinmetz from ARMC, HIM department. Charmaine Cole, Register of Voters. Christine Montoya, City of Hesperia. Bill Horton, Lamar Advertising. Warren Pennington, Desert Water Agency. Ruben Gallardo from the City of Redlands. Gerald Stokes, Patricia Flores, and Crystal Olds from Rialto TAD. James Hayes from TAD 02. Also, Zion Randolph, a new steward out of Rialto TAD. Congratulations. Charmaine Barno from HVP. We also have Margarita Martinez, IR Tech at ARMC. And happy birthday to Kathleen Brennan yesterday. She turned 29 yesterday, our amazing president of this local union. She's the greatest president in the Teamsters. We appreciate all the work that she does. Our members absolutely love her and her spirit and her energy. And she celebrated her birthday yesterday. And I felt bad because I found myself, I said happy birthday to her in the morning, and I found myself at some point in the day calling her, forgetting it was her birthday, and calling her and getting her up to speed on these things that were going on. We talk multiple times a day, many times, and I had forgotten at the end of the day, it was her birthday. What am I doing? It's like 8:30, 9 o'clock last night. I'm getting her up to speed on some things that had just happened as I'm on my way in the door at the house. And then I got reminded, my wife had reminded me, what are you doing on the phone with Kathleen? It's her birthday. You're killing me here. You're killing her. And I was like, I felt so bad. So I got to give her a happy birthday shout out here. And Kathleen, being the trooper she is, she was like, Randy, no, man, I'm good. Like, no problem. Let's get it taken care of. She's always got that great attitude. Yeah, give her a big round of applause. Thank you for. All right, those are our live shout outs. Enough of that, Kathleen. That's enough of your birthday. It's over. That was yesterday. Today's a new day. Anyway, I'm going to get to the next part of our show, which is some fun facts. And first, it's the job that we want to highlight. And we're actually going to have someone on the show today from this unique job in the county. It's a public guardian conservator. And the public guardian arranges for custodial care and administers estates of gravely disabled or other incompetent persons by appointment of the courts and serves as a guardian of the conservative's property and financial assets and coordinates legal and social services on behalf of the conservatees. And what an important job that is provided for the community and for individuals in clearly a very stressful, difficult time. And so we're actually going to have somebody on today to describe this job later on in the hour. And they serve young disabled people too. Thank you for pointing that out, Robert. Right. They serve young disabled people too. There's all these really important jobs that get done out there every day. And many people don't know clearly how important they are until sometimes that they actually need them. And you don't realize that how many people are actually utilizing them, because maybe you don't realize your neighbor or other individuals in your community are in that sort of space where there is that type of need. And so thank you for those that do that job. It's such an important job. And we're going to be hearing from Carla later on in the show, and she's going to talk specifically about the things that she does in her role, as well as the importance of her role to the community, and maybe she'll have some good stories or funny stories. I always try to get funny stories out of people that are in jobs like this, because sometimes we're really surprised with some funny stuff. Anyway, again, shout out for those public guardians. Really appreciate the work that you do. We will be hearing from you soon. The labor wins that we want to bring up is the Hilton workers in Orlando secure a new contract. Unite Here Local 737 announced last Thursday that hospitality workers at their Hilton Orlando Buena Vista Palace Hotel in Florida have ratified a new contract after nearly a year of negotiations. The previous contract covering members expired on December 31st of 2024. So they've been without a contract for a bit. It's good to see that got resolved. And, management had failed to offer fair provisions up to this point, and it's good to see that stuff really, really closed out. And, the contract includes multiple wins, including good wage increases, lower medical insurance costs, and automatic 20% gratuity on guest checks, lower workload for housekeepers, and stronger protections for immigrant workers. So congratulations to those of you at Unite Here 737 in Orlando. We also have San Diego IATSE members, Local 122. They just secured a powerful contract, and those members who work for Encore Global won a historic contract that includes wage increases of up to 28% in the first year. Workers secured this victory after several months of coordinated collective action. Encore, is that Encore or Encore, Robert? It's Encore. Okay. Encore is a majority owned by Blackstone, which is the world's largest private equity firm. Oh boy. Imagine that, these huge private equity firms owning everything on the entire face of the planet. That's where we're going, ladies and gentlemen. I'll talk about that in a little while. Anyway, some highlights of the new contract include an average wage increase of up to 28% in the first year, premiums for hazardous working conditions, a reduced evaluation period to allow more opportunities for increases, a ratification bonus, and strengthened arbitration process to protect workers' rights and fortify the agreement. The next thing I want to roll into is I want to do a quick promotion on some upcoming events. The Quakes, Saturday, July 26th. There is a promo out here for this game. Make sure that the tickets are, I think, $13 each. there's a spot that they can connect to these, right? Mark, I forgot your name briefly.
My name's Mark. I work here at Teamster Local 1932. So they can go on the TA
You consider
app,
that work? Oh, I'm just kidding. My bad.
Teamster Advantage app, mobile app. We also have the web page. It's on the Teamster Advantage Facebook page. There's 3 different ways.
And if you have any questions, call the front desk. They'll help you.
Yes.
Correct? And then there's this little QR code you scan in. Hell, maybe with our new camera here, by the way, I didn't talk about that. I'll talk about that in a few minutes. This cool new camera we got. Makes it nice and clear. Everybody was complaining, you need a new camera. It's too grainy. It's not looking good. And we had planned on upgrading the camera, but maybe you can get this QR code from the camera there. Don't zoom in yet. We'll do that later. And then the next one is the 66ers, July 4th at 6:35 p.m., $10 off tickets for the Executive Club in Bullpen. Make sure that you reach out. There's, another QR, one of those cool QR codes that you can just get your tickets. Rams 2025 home games, another QR code. Check that out. These connect to all the home games for August 9th, August 16th. So it's the Rams Cowboys August 9th, Rams Chargers August 16th, Rams Colts September 28th, November 2nd, Rams Saints, November 16th, Rams Seahawks, November 23rd, Rams Buccaneers, and then a to-be-announced Rams versus Cardinals. Must be one of those games that float around. They haven't set the time yet. But hit that QR code, and guess what? You can purchase tickets there as well. And then we have Teamster Night at Angel Stadium. Those games are the games that are left are July 12th versus the Diamondbacks, and then the Angel Dodger Freeway Series, which is August 11, 12, and 13. And then August 23rd versus the Cubs. Again, another QR code there that you can maybe quickly go in. And what are you laughing at me? See, with the old camera, you couldn't get away with this. I'm just curious to know, because I'm going to go back and I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to see if I can zoom in and hit that QR code, and then we'll have some fun with it. Anyway, you got to have fun with your new toys, right? It's like a kid, you know. And then never forget, right here in our hometown of Colton, which is in the IE, we have Fiesta Village Family Fun Park, and this is a best day pass, $10 off. It's enjoy 4 hours of unlimited go-karts and amusement rides and all kinds of good stuff, as well as a free blizzard here. And you can go on our website as well as the Teamster Advantage app, or give us a call, and you can try to connect to those discounts. So just as part of our Teamster Advantage program, which is connected to more than 1,000 small businesses in the community, just wanted to give a quick shout-out and a quick promo to all those upcoming events that our members can participate in, and clearly get at a discount, get much cheaper. And we're really enjoying that some of these like baseball teams and football teams are doing going to a link, and then we don't have to buy the tickets ahead of time. That just creates a lot of inventory issues, and it's hard for us to buy tickets, hold on to tickets, and give tickets back just because of the reporting requirements we have as an organization. And so a lot of the organizations that are going to just being able to go to the link, we can track it, we can share it, they get the discount. We don't have to front load all those tickets. We appreciate that partnership with those organizations. And the next part of our show, I'm going to give some quick victories that have happened at 1932 in the last few weeks. I'm going to slowly integrate this into the show and see how it works, and how well it's either received, or I can keep it up and keep it going in the right way, or mess it up or speak about it wrong. I don't know. What I love about the show is we kind of tweak things, do a little bit different this, a little bit different that, and what I want to do is give these little nuggets of information that are happening around the local for listeners to realize there's all this stuff happening on a regular basis. And so we got a member added back to a promotion list and received the promotion. So in other words, someone was booted off a promotion list, and they were able to get back on that promotion list. Thank you very much. And get back on that list, and then got the promotion. So that tells us that the process worked, because obviously if they were non-union, they would have been kicked off that promotion list and never been added. This next story, it really hit home. Again, someone at ARMC at the hospital, a 60-year-old worker who came from Egypt, where she had worked non-union her entire working life. She spent her life savings on her kids' schooling and dedicated the work to the county so she could have a retirement. She was having issues at work, and after one meeting, she was able to be recognized for her work, and the member is extremely grateful. Like this just shift in a recognition of all the great work that she had been doing over a period of time. Those are stories I always love to hear, where people, it's not like this huge like economic situation. It's really significant to them because they feel that their work is being valued. And I think that, that's what workers, that's all they want in America, is they just want to feel as if their work has value. There are a lot of group meetings with workers to escalate organizing efforts and obviously push back against a lot of unfair behavior from management, as well as group meetings with a number of members in areas that we have ongoing workplace concerns in some of our operations. Successful new employee orientations at agencies, our numbers of being over 80% continue to where we're signing up most of the time more than 80 or 90% on day one, where they're becoming members and they're choosing not to be freeloaders. They're choosing, it's always interesting in this space when I have someone says, I want to opt out, I don't want to pay dues. I'm like, so you want everybody at the union to work for free? That's what you're saying. You don't want to pay dues. You want everybody to work for free. What would happen if your employer asked you to work for free? What would you do? And then they kind of start to get a little offended. And I really don't care that they get offended at that space, because you're basically saying we need to work for free, even though you got great benefits, you got a retirement vehicle, you have this, you have that, you have all these things that are bargained every day. And no one's doing anything for me, and you want to freeload. So yeah, that's going to be a contentious conversation. I get people that sometimes complain to me, like, you're not being very nice. Would you be nice if somebody came to you and said that you had to work for free? No, man. You'd be like, no, I'm not working for free. I'm not coming to work every day for free. Anyway, really great work that our NEO teams do, and our members that are engaged in that process, in explaining how important it is to be part of the collective, and how important it is to participate, and how important it is to not be a freeloader. Also, a member at CFS doing an excellent job at making sure other employees are signed up and building their worker power. We also challenged the courts on prolonged investigative timelines, resulting in a new policy with weekly check-ins for current investigations. Pushed back against a manager who demanded a doctor's note for a 2-day absence, raising red flags, and addressing the absentee policy. Got that fixed. Finalized a side letter agreement to ensure that a district continues to cover the 7% peers contribution. So great work in all that space. We really appreciate all that the staff is doing on a regular basis. And with that, we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to get to our guest. And this next guest coming in for me is I always love being in the space of Amazon workers. This last few days, I've actually been with a bunch of them in a bunch of different settings. And it's always a reminder of the organizing work that we do. And, at the top of the hour, Mark, you had pointed out that longtime organizer. I always brag about being an organizer. And regardless of what other position I hold, I always brag about being an organizer, because in this space, you get to meet people that are really, really challenging their employer at a level. They're in a lot of cases withholding their labor and exercising their First Amendment right to get things resolved, to resolve issues, to take on issues, to make the place safer, to make the place more efficient. And as an organizer, you're constantly in this space, and it's so fun to have individuals with us and to be blessed enough to be in this space all the time. And Gaspar Diaz is a KSBD Teamster. He's everywhere. I've spoken at a bunch of events with him where he's either been speaking before me or after me. He's obviously going to talk about this great momentum that we have when it comes to AB 288, and he was up there participating in that. He's going to talk about his experience in that. And I also want to thank him for his military service, because he served in the military, served proudly. So When he comes back on here in a minute, we're going to take a quick break, get him in the seat, and then you're going to see this new camera in action, how we actually can pan out and zoom in. I don't want you to zoom too much in on me because this new camera is like 4K or whatever crazy thing it is, and I look super old and super fat, and can we go back to the blurry stuff where I don't.
What's the matter?
Oh man, man, I don't know if I like this new camera. I mean, it's cool to play with, but man, it shows all our flaws. With that, why don't you take it away for a quick break? KCAA, this is Randy Corrigan in the Worker Power Hour, KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and the Teamsters Local 1932 Broadcast Network, airing live from San Bernardino. Take it away, Mark.
I'm Lillian Vasquez with Community Matters. There are many car clubs and car shows throughout the Inland Empire. I visited a car show in Yucaipa and spoke with David Avila, president of Past Pleasures Car Club. He shared about the club, its purpose, and when it first began.
Well, it's kind of a debate. We believe that the first organized group was around 1979, but more officially closer to 1986 or 87. We gathered to help celebrate the Southern California car culture of the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s.
David shared the types of cars you might see, and of course, his pride and joy.
We see all kinds of cars, from early model hot rods to very, very well-appointed custom cars, all makes and models. We have everything that's pre-80. I have a 1966 Chevelle Malibu, the yellow one here, my pride and joy, but everyone just brings whatever they have. There's several cars that are under various stages of construction and restoration, and we enjoy seeing them and seeing the progress every month that they bring. It's just a wonderful event, and it's a nice family-friendly. We have bubble gum blowing contests, hula hoops, limbo contests. It's just a wonderful family event, and we encourage everybody who has a car or don't have a car, come over here and enjoy the camaraderie that we have, again, celebrating the Southern California car culture.
You don't have to have a car in the show. Spectators and car enthusiasts are encouraged to check out the classics. It's free to attend. The Past Pleasure Car Club shows off their cars the first Friday of the month from April through November, located in the Ross parking lot on Yucaipa Boulevard. For Community Matters, I'm Lillian Vasquez.
We're back. Randy Corrigan in the Worker Power Hour, KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and the Teamsters Local 1932 Broadcast Network, airing live from San Bernardino. We are joined by Gaspar Diaz, who is a KSBD. We call that KSBD. That's the airport for Amazon here in San Bernardino. And first of all, let me say, Gaspar, thanks for coming on, and thank you for your service. You served in the military, correct? We're not hearing him. We checked the mic earlier. Come on, Mark. Did you fall asleep over here?
No, I got the button on. Let's try a different one.
Yeah, I'm going to jump
there
on
you
this
go.
one.
He's on.
There we go.
All right.
Yes, I signed up.
See, Mark is going to get a warning letter now.
Hell, I'll probably get fired.
He's got a... I'll be a steward for him.
There you go.
Gaspar, I'm going to need representation, bro.
I got you. I got you on that one. Yeah, I enlisted in 1989.
So real quick, I'm going to reset this.
Okay.
Just make it easier because we got a little fumbly there thanks to somebody else. So first thing I want to say is all the great work that you do. Let's first appreciate the fact that you served in the military. You served in the military. Thank you for your service in the military. And why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Thank you very much, Randy. I enlisted in 1989, and it was still during the Berlin Wall was still up. Tear down this wall. Right, and Russia was our primary adversary at the time, and as you can see, things have kind of gone back to that because now they're with war with Ukraine, and but yeah, I joined the National Guard and was fortunate to be in several call-ups. One was the LA riots. That was the first big one. And
91, 92, yeah.
92. Had Northridge earthquakes. That was really bad. And then I didn't think anything was going to happen. We had a lot of peace going on. And then the 9/11 occurred, and that's when things got really serious. So all fun and games set aside, it was we really had to train for war, and so I got the call to go to Iraq in 2003, and I was gone got back in March of 2005. And then San Diego fires. I was down in San Diego fires for like 3 weeks. That was pretty bad. In 2008, then I got called up to go to Kosovo. So I did a year tour in Kosovo, a NATO mission. Very interesting mission. Got to work with several countries. So it was proud to put in my 21 years. And when I came back, I got a job offer at the state of California, and it was neat working with veterans because I could relate to their experiences and help them with their claims, their VA claims, as far as getting them medical help. And I also would see if they wanted to find work. Mm-hmm. And I had several employers on my list, and one of those employers was Amazon. I had a recruiter that I would send these veterans to,
yeah.
And I worked that for about a year and a half until I got a letter or told that the state of California budget was coming to an end. So when that came to an end, I called up that recruiter, and I said, "Hey, guess what? I got one for you." He said, "Who's that?" "That's me." He said, "Come on down. I'll get you working at Amazon." So that was in 2013.
I got one for you. Yeah. It's me.
It's me. So he gets me the job, and here I am at Amazon. I started there in October of 2013.
And you have kicked up some dust.
Yeah.
Man, I tell you, you do such a great job. Again, thank you for your service, and thank you for spelling out all the things that you have done to help this great country. Really appreciate that and appreciate that sacrifice. Yeah. And so shifting gears over to what you're doing now, mm-hmm. and how you're impacting your local community, mm-hmm. is you're helping workers organize, mm-hmm. at Amazon. And we're probably going to jump around a little bit here, but you experienced this pretty cool thing a couple weeks ago, being up there in the chambers and participating in AB 288 and, mm-hmm. the passing and kind of accelerating this, mm-hmm. and which, for those of you that don't know, that is a bill that we have really agitated, kind of structured and pushed out, and it's what we call a right to organize bill. And it's a bill that is created to step in and make sure that workers are represented, workers have a safety net legally, if the federal laws decide, or should say, stagnate or unable
Correct.
To protect. But I also don't want to take away from the great work that you're doing there at the airport. More than 1,000 Teamsters there.
Oh, yeah.
I know Amazon refuses to bargain, but whatever. You guys are bargaining every day on the floor. You know how to shut it down if they don't mm-hmm. come to terms on something. You know how to call them out of the office, call the managers and supervisors out and say, "Hey, we got this going on, we got that going on, we need this fixed and that mm-hmm. fixed." And I'll let you talk about some of those details. We definitely got 20 minutes to do it, about 18 minutes to do it.
Okay.
And I also want to point out the fact that you're famous. Like, you're in this video that 30 million people have seen now? Is it over 30 million now, Mario? Like it's crazy. Like millions, tens of millions of people are like, "Look at that guy. I want to be just like him."
It's pretty interesting.
You're an inspiration, my brother.
Because I'll hear from people I haven't heard from in years, and they'll say, "Hey, I saw your video.
Awesome.
Hey, what's going on? Hey, great job with the Teamsters. Just keep it up, keep it up." But back to this, being a soldier, you're fighting for a cause, and it kind of translates to what we're doing now. Being with the Teamsters and being with Amazon. I was always hoping that the union would come in some shape or form, and it isn't. You got to fight. You got to fight worker power.
Yeah, it doesn't just magically land in your lap.
Magically happen.
Right.
And as I saw this company just keep growing and growing, I was really hoping, hey, wages would get better. They didn't get better. They were taking things away. They took away the stock plan. They took away VCP, variable comp program, which a lot of new Amazonians don't know about. It was a bonus program that if your building performed well, you would get bonuses based off of safety, production, and saving of money. They took all that away. So about when KSBD came to built and was going, there was a group trying to get the union going, and I'd hear it, and I'm like, man, this sounds good. I got to get involved. And I was signing the petitions. We were fighting for better conditions out on the flight line, fans inside the building. It was just a constant. It was neat to see workers finally coming together and
realizing
wages.
Realizing the power they have coming together.
That's right.
Yeah.
So it's actually a year ago that we actually went on I saw the worker power come to vision of us coming together. It was a year ago we went on strike July of last year, and now to think in December how much we've come to finally getting the majority and being a Teamster shop, and then still not recognizing who we are is an insult, breaking the law. So I just like to say that this bill, when it was presented to me, and we're hearing about that the National Labor Board, there was a member, Wilcox. She was sent out by the new administration, and now they can't fight for a lot of the rights that we want. And so now McKenna, she's a assembly person out of I think it's down in South LA. She's the one who created this bill with many co-authors.
Yeah, she's the original author. Yeah.
And what she did now is, hey, we're not going to go with the National Labor Board anyway. It's going to be a state-run entity to fight for workers, so we have the right to organize and not be discriminated against by employers. So this is what we've needed
What's
for
that
years.
feel like to be in a space as a worker where you've got these elected, assembly people, senators, all these people that are in public office, and many of them are looking to you to tell the story, right? And they're helping obviously advance the cause of these issues, or this law policy. It's the best way to describe it. And behind you to say, we got to change the rules to make sure you're covered, you're taken care of. What's that like? What's that experience like, kind of being in that space? It's got to be incredible.
It was neat because it's the first time I've seen so many parts of this Teamster fight.
Worker power.
Right. I mean, getting a majority. Taking my Stewart class, going to the organizing classes, and seeing everybody just so much involved in how much important this was. And then to see that the National Labor Board didn't have our back. And now this bill is going to open so many corridors for not just Amazon.
Right, for
it's
all
gonna
workers.
Be for all workers. Big corporations aren't going to be bullying the worker around anymore. They're going to have to listen to the say. And if they break the law, we've got the Attorney General to step in as well
and
to help us out.
Just remember one thing. I know what happens in this space is we start to lean into the law, or we lean into electeds, or we lean into the board, or whatever it is, and we say, hey, you got to do your part. Remember, the most powerful tool you have is withholding your labor. That exercising your First Amendment right, your protected concerted activity, and when workers in this country in mass withhold their labor, it can accomplish anything. Right. And you're building towards that. You're actually agitating and educating workers into the space, because regardless of what law passes or doesn't pass, or what law is not being utilized properly, or what administration is in office, that right's going to be there and can be the most powerful tool. And you've seen it firsthand. You've seen it where, matter of fact, I think you led the discussion last year where the smoke was so bad, you guys shut the operation down because Amazon wasn't respecting the working condition,
The
right?
health, correct. This was back in October. We had 3 fires that surrounded the airport, and the smoke was so bad for almost a week. The air quality was horrendous, and they were still having workers work out there with a mask that still didn't protect the respiratory, their lungs, their allergies, and people were going to the AmCare. They were filling up the AmCare, and they didn't want to. They weren't going to change anything. We shut them down for 2 days, and that's worker power. That's the worker power that when workers feel that they're getting pushed around, you got to come together. It can't be just one. It's got to be, you all have to unite, and we stood up to them.
Right. The cool thing about worker power is you don't also have to wait for a bunch of stuff to build up. You can have this one issue where it's important to the group, and you take the issue on and you start to hold them accountable. Watching you all do that at KSBD is beautiful. It is such a precious and beautiful thing to witness, regardless of Amazon's obstinance, right?
Yeah.
In the operation, when you're doing this, you can see, I mean, you watch the supervisors run from you, right?
Oh yeah.
Literally.
They can't answer, or they don't want to deal with it, and they run away.
That's how powerful it is. It's incredible. And it's even more incredible to be sitting here with you and having you share the story with everybody, because it's permanent now. Once the story gets in here, it goes into a podcast. It's obviously live right now where tens of thousands of people are listening over the radio, and obviously digitally and streaming, and they're watching. Some people are watching us. You've been smiling in the camera, right? But it's also, this message is permanent, and it's why we love to have you all in this space, is because then other workers hear you, and they hear what you're doing, and they hear how successful it is, and they hear, sometimes, is it everything happens today, and it's like flipping a light switch, and it's a magic wand. No.
It takes
effort.
It takes,
and those are the most rewarding, aren't they?
Exactly. When it comes through, it can be a vision that actually comes to reality. And it's not just one person, it's many of us that have culminated and gotten together and speak up and listen to each other's concerns. That's just one big thing, but the injustices that were being caused by other workers, where discipline on one worker is different from the other. There's no fair playing field. One site does disciplinary issues different from another, and we've had general managers that, they try and bully us and try and push their way that it may have worked at another site.
Biggest bully defeater is worker power.
That's right.
It's like kicking sand right in that bully's eye.
We push it right back. Right. We push it right back. And one thing I learned in my organizing class were structure tests. I didn't know what a structure test was. Well, guess what? It's like poking a bear with a stick, and we keep poking them. And one of the big victories that we got was the third break premium. Amazon.
Talk about it. Let's talk about how beautiful this is. This is incredible what you all did, and you changed the policy through the whole company, right?
Yeah. A year ago, several workers filed a complaint about getting cheated on a third break working over 10 hours. And they weren't giving people their breaks. And they were entitled to their breaks. And we didn't know anything about that. And we just kept working over that 10th hour.
Describe that break that they're entitled to,
it's a law
that Amazon was ignoring.
Amazon was completely ignoring the fact that they wanted you to stay over that 10th hour to accomplish extra task or help out here and there, and a lot of these workers weren't getting their third break. By law they were entitled to their third break, and we kept bringing it up. And we had a group of them file a grievance with the state. And guess what? They were at fault. And now, a year later, starting in the spring, it was like March, everybody started getting paid out. Thousands of dollars.
Yeah, not little checks.
Thousands of dollars.
Not little checks that some attorney takes a big chunk of.
10 grand.
Right.
10 grand. And it was all in the app. Man. But you know what? To this day, they have it on the app so you can do it. But they don't announce it at stand-up and tell the associates, hey, we owe you money. Go to the app and we'll, submit your claim. They won't even do that.
How does it feel to be part of a system that you agitated something that's putting tens of thousands of dollars in your coworkers' pockets?
Oh, we love it. We love it. And the thing about it is, people that were not believers of what we were able to do, and we tell them, the Teamsters helped create this. We got together with the Teamsters to get you your money. We let them know and remind them who helped them in the long run to get that check. And that's another way to, unite and bring more people on board.
Yeah, and how did I gotta, because we only got like 6 minutes left, but in December 19th through December 19th through the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, you all watched workers just like you all over the country do what you're doing. How incredible was that to watch?
Oh my gosh.
Hundreds of millions of people in America watch you, like, because they were glued for 3 days. It was at the top of the list when it came to whatever media analytics were there, and more people paid attention to that than any story those first 3 days. It was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and it started to tone down on Saturday. But the point is it had to be incredible to see, because you guys are sharing videos of each other and you're seeing each other, what you're doing across the country, but then you get to see it in this electric space in the media where America was behind you. Well, what was that feeling like?
We felt that they had our backs, and that the fact that it was during the holidays where they're going to order they're ordering their
everybody's paying attention.
They're paying attention. We're on the news in the morning. We're on the news in the afternoon. We're on the news in the evening. And it was neat to see all the delivery stations popping up too, and telling and testify, their testimony as far as them saying what's going on and what's
standing there on a picket line talking about what it's like to be an Amazon employee, while Amazon says, those aren't our employees.
Yeah.
In an Amazon uniform, in an Amazon van, coming out of an Amazon facility with Amazon equipment.
And to have,
not ours.
And to have an Amazon spokesperson say, "Oh, they're not employees."
Right.
Yeah, and it was on the news, and I'm glad she went on there because it made her look like a fool.
Exactly, and the entire few days they finally realized that they couldn't get in front of that message because it was ridiculous. Like, you can't, people aren't buying it.
But one of the things I've noticed over the course of a year, more than a year, is unionization.
It's happening everywhere.
It's happening everywhere, and that's where it's a beautiful thing to hear it in the news, to hear everybody fighting. And it was a year ago in July. I remember Disneyland. Disneyland was on strike. They hadn't had a contract, and they were going to go on strike. Their workers. They ended up getting their contract, and it was like it just started steamrolling, But GE, the mechanics from GE were fighting too. Boeing, you just started hearing all these things going on, and everyone's talking union. But AB 288 is something we desperately need, and to see this side of it was a totally different picture of the puzzle that we need to get that power. Right now it's in the Senate and it's in their committee. Right now they check the fiscal impact, the appropriations committee. They have to do their part of it, and I really feel it's going to go through. We've got Republicans on board. And that's the most important
definitely
thing.
Bipartisan.
It's got to be a bipartisan thing.
It's about workers. It's not about your political party.
It's about the worker being treated and paid fairly, and that's what we want. I think it's respect. Above all, workers want to be respected. And Amazon, they try and sugarcoat this and sugarcoat that. No, we see right through them. We see right through them, and we call their bluff every time at KSBD. And how we feel is,
got to stay close to the mic. You're getting fired up. That's all right, man. I love this. This is what I love about Gaspar.
How I see it, and I tell them, I said it's like a big pine tree. We're a big pine tree in San Bernardino, and we're going to knock this tree down. And when this tree falls, the whole state's going to hear, the whole country's going to hear, and all these other Amazon sites are going to want a piece of it. Just like I talked about this UPT third break premium that everybody that didn't believe they were going to get, they're getting big checks.
Yes, they are. So great work. Just got very short period here until we got to go see. The cool part about our show is we can do anything we want with it, except for the top of the hour. Top of the hour because we got this cool logo behind us. We got a break for that period of time for NBC and make sure that they run their news. But whether it's knocking on doors, helping workers organize, you have been, speaking to other workers, you're at functions, events, community events, helping within the community, and obviously going to Sacramento. You're agitating this space in such an incredible way, Gaspar. You and your committee and all the workers out there, you're such an inspiration to millions of workers. And it's a testament to see a video that you're in that's now 20, 30 million views, recognizes that other workers are following your lead. So great job, great work. Let's get you back on the show here pretty soon. I got about 30 seconds.
All right.
Anything you want to say in 15 seconds?
Hey, you know what? We got to recognize places that aren't union. So if they're not union, don't shop at them, okay? That's my big. They got grocery outlet that they just opened up here, non-union spot over here. Don't go there.
Yeah, use the Teamster Advantage app. It'll show you where to go. Yeah. Make sure that you go to all these places as much as you can. Gaspar, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate all the work that you do. And thank you to all those Amazon workers that are out there smashing, making an impact, and inspiring millions of other workers across the country. Appreciate you coming on the show, sharing your story, and talking about all the different ways that you're making an impact. This is Randy Corrigan in the Worker Power Hour. I am a longtime organizer, first-time radio host, KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM. The Teamsters Local 1932 Broadcast Network. Take it away, live from San Luis.
NBC News on KCAA Loma Linda, sponsored by Teamsters Local 1932, protecting the future of working families. Teamsters 1932.org.
NBC News Radio. I'm Chris Coraggio. Prosecutors will seek about 4 to 5 years in prison for Sean Diddy Combs. The New York jury found him guilty of transporting people for prostitution, but not guilty of sex trafficking and racketeering, so he could be released on bond until sentencing. In court today, prosecutors told the judge the sentencing guidelines range from 51 to 63 months. They added they still don't want bond given to the rap mogul. Procedural votes are being held to advance President Trump's massive spending bill in the House. An hour of debate on the legislation will take place following the votes, but it appears to be stalled on the House floor currently. The bill squeaked through the Senate yesterday, with Vice President J.D. Vance forced to cast the tie-breaking vote. Some moderate Republicans met with Trump to discuss the bill at the White House earlier today. Some Republicans are angry about the spending increase the Senate put into the measure. Also, some lawmakers haven't been able to return to Washington yet because of severe weather across portions of the country. I'm Chris Coraggio, NBC News Radio.
Located in the heart of San Bernardino, California, the Teamsters Local 1932 Training Center is designed to train workers for high-demand, good-paying jobs in various industries throughout the Inland Empire. If you want a pathway to a high-paying job and the respect that comes with a union contract, visit 1932trainingcenter.org to enroll today. That's 1932trainingcenter.org.
Did you know that 55% of working Americans would choose a lower-paying job to work under a leader who inspires their brilliance? In today's fast-paced world, resilience isn't just a trait, it's a superpower. If you're feeling overwhelmed by life's pace with hurry and worry, struggling to find a way, discover the secrets with Simon T. Bailey's bestseller, Resilience at Work, How to Coach Yourself into a Thriving Future. Get your copy today on Amazon and unlock your full potential.
This segment sponsored by our friends at the all-new Sammy's Restaurant. Sammy's is now open in Calamasa at Exit 88 off the 10 freeway next to the Jack in the Box in the former Bob's Big Boy Restaurant. Not to name drop, but Sammy's in the former Bob's is a lot like Norm's. It has an extensive menu with multiple restaurants in Rialto and places like Upland and Rancho Cucamonga. Sammy's is a great place to dine. Their menu is very similar with their American trio of delicious steak, shrimp, and chicken, and an expansive menu. You won't go hungry and you won't go broke at Sammy's. You can come meet Sammy and his family. Sammy was a chief cook for Norm's for years, and it shows in his menu. Sammy's is a great place to meet the family, friends, or have a community meeting. You can ask about their private meeting room, available for parties of 15 or more on a first-come, first-served basis. Sammy's is now open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day at 540 Sandalwood Drive off of Exit 88 at the 10 Freeway in Calamasa. Look for the Big Boy statue. It's still there. We thank Sammy for returning to this station as a loyal sponsor. You can find more info about Sammy's at sammyscafe.net. That's sammyscafe.net, where you can also find discount coupons to save money. And by the way, Sammy's has free Wi-Fi too. Sammy's in Calamasa, Rialto, or one of their other locations are ready to serve you. Sammy's is now open in Calamasa.
Here's the KCAA Community Calendar for the month of July. The Redlands Theater Festival presents their 53rd season of Theater Under the Stars in Prospect Park. 5 productions in rotating repertory. There is something for everyone to enjoy. This year's lineup includes Young Frankenstein, Radio Gals, The Spitfire Grill, You Can't Take It With You, and The Thanksgiving Play. Tickets and show schedule is available at rtfseason.com. The 102nd Redlands Bowl Summer Music Festival will present free performances every Tuesday and Friday evening throughout the month of July. Enjoy music of world-class performers under the stars. Arrive early with your picnic dinner or buy something to eat at their snack bar. Seating is first come, first served. Performances begin at 8 p.m. This year's musical is Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, July 24th through the 27th. So many wonderful performances all summer long, located near downtown Redlands. If sports is more your liking, there's plenty of single-A professional baseball with 3 locations in the Inland Empire. The 66ers in San Bernardino, the Quakes in Rancho Cucamonga, and the Storm in Lake Elsinore. Check their website for at-home games and game time. On Wednesday nights beginning at 6 p.m., it's the weekly Locana League at Board Game Paradise. Whether you're a seasoned player or just starting out, the Locana League is the perfect opportunity to dive into the magical world of Locana Disney, meet fellow fans, and enjoy some friendly competition. The cost is $10, located at 109 East State Street in Redlands. And that's the latest from the KCAA Community Calendar. I'm Lillian Vasquez on KCAA 1050 AM and 106.5 FM.
Now, here's a new concept, digital network advertising, where businesses display your ad inside their building. If a picture's worth 1,000 words, your company is going to thrive with digital network advertising. Choose your marketing sites or jump on the DNA system and advertise with all participants. Your business ad or logo is rotated multiple times an hour inside local businesses where people will discover your company. Digital network advertising. DNA, a novel way to be seen and remembered. Digital network advertising with networks in Redlands and Yucaipa. Call in the 909 area 222-9293 for introductory pricing. That's 909-222-9293 for digital network advertising. One last time, digital network advertising. 909-222-9293.
Welcome to the Worker Power Hour with Randy Corrigan, a brand new show about labor and worker issues. The host of the show is Randy Corrigan, Secretary, Treasurer, and Principal Office and leader of Teamsters 1932, one of the largest public sector labor unions on the West Coast, representing workers in government and non-sworn law enforcement personnel. Randy Corrigan is a 30-year Teamster who first became involved in the labor movement by volunteering his time as an organizer with the Teamsters Union at the age of 21. Since then, he's helped thousands organize, mobilize, and achieve bargaining rights. He accomplished this by spending countless hours with brave men and women all over Southern California, in their living rooms, on the picket line, to bring workers towards victory. This is the Worker Power Hour. And now here's the host of the show, Randy Corrigan.
Randy Corrigan in the Worker Power Hour, KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and the Teamsters 1932 Broadcast Network. You know, that song wants to put me to sleep. That's not like the other one. The other one comes in and you're charging It's like,
but it got your brain going.
yeah, that's true. Got me going. I see some on my phone here. You're texting me and commenting on some of the things I said at the top of the hour. Thank you very much. I appreciate the feedback. My amazing wife said that I was not. What did she say? I gotta put this in here. It's pretty funny. She's laughing. You don't look fat or old. I think I do on this camera, but anyway, we got a new camera here, Carla. I'll get to you in just a quick second. But we got this new camera, and it's got such good detail. I like want to go back to the old camera where it's a little fuzzy, and all the imperfections I have or we have.
You need a filter.
Yeah, I need I need a pretty filter. We can get that and just put it over the front of it.
Or the little animals,
Oh, there you go. That's a good idea. Well, let's not, because these guys might be a little too creative.
Is that what we call a Randy emoji?
No, we're not doing that. No, thank you. Anyway, hey, Gaspar wasn't he great? Like, man, he
nailed it.
He nailed it. He does such a great job of telling the story. First of all, again, thank you for your military service. It's 21 years in the military. Obviously, then working at Amazon as long as he has, helping workers at Amazon, leading people in their community in a positive way, helping the workforce get to a better space. And he's really good at speaking in front of a crowd. He's really good at articulating what workers are doing, and also leading them into a space where workers are sometimes reluctant. I obviously don't think they should be reluctant, because it's our First Amendment right. It's our freedom to assemble. It's protected concerted activity, and our ability when it comes to collective bargaining and utilize those rights. The average worker's not exercising them enough right now, and we got to do more of that. And he's just a great representative of that, especially taking on one of the biggest corporations in the world and inspiring his coworkers to chip away and do some of the amazing things that they have done there at KSBD, which is the airport here in San Bernardino, and inspiring thousands of other workers in other parts of the country. It's just been really fun to watch him. He did a great job on the show. Really appreciate you coming on. And so now we're being joined by Carla Banninger. Is that correct? Banninger. I'm sorry for butchering your name.
It's not a problem.
I used to be better at pronouncing names, and I've just got bad at it. It's not as good, so my apologies. You're a deputy public guardian, correct?
Yes.
And I got to get you just a little closer to that mic.
Okay. Sorry.
Good. No, you're good. You're good. We'll turn you up, and then we'll get you closer at the same time. Anyway, that is an interesting title that I'm sure most people don't know. You work for the County of San Bernardino.
Yes.
And you do what is a very, very important job and resource for the local community. So I'm going to turn it over to you, and I'm going to let you kind of describe your job.
We are sworn officers of the court. So our job is to protect the gravely disabled and the high-risk members of our community. So there are two types of conservatorship. One is probate, which is what most people are familiar with, which is, grandma starts getting a little off and she can't take care of herself and she's not paying her bills. A doctor may recommend to the court to have her evaluated for maybe Alzheimer's or dementia. A bank may reach out because they're noticing fiduciary issues where someone's taking money out of the account. So the court appoints an investigator from Department of Aging and Adult Services who goes out and investigates and makes a determination if that person meets the qualifications. And if so, the court says, okay, is there a family member or someone who would like to take care of this? If not, we are basically the last resort and we are appointed. At that point, we take over everything for that person. Their medical, their finances, taking them to appointments, buying them groceries, talking to them on the phone, all of that. With a probate, they can determine if it's going to be person or estate or both, which means either just taking care of them, their physical person or their finances, or if we're going to do both. The other type of conservatorship, which most people don't know about, is the LPS, which is Lanterman Peters Short. And that is for people who are deemed gravely disabled. They cannot provide for their shelter, their food, or their clothing. They generally have a mental disability. It can be schizophrenia, it can be bipolar, it can be anything like that, and they can't care for themselves. In that case, they appoint us through a psychiatrist. They evaluate them, and then they say, okay, you guys are now in charge of them. With them, we are 100% over everything. We place them where they're going to live, we manage their finances, apply for all their Medicaid, Medi-Cal, pay their bills, buy their clothing, go with them to doctor's appointments, sign all documents for them, because all of their basic rights are removed because they cannot understand what they're doing, or they don't want to take medication because they may think it's poison. So it's working with them and working with professionals to take care of them. So from the point we're given conservatorship of that person until either the conservatorship ends because they start taking their medication and they can do better, or they pass away, we are in charge of them. And it's our job to be respectful and care for them and treat them like human beings.
What an incredible responsibility. In addition to, I'm assuming most people don't know that this resource is out there until the need is there, right? And thank you for describing that important role within the community and how much value it brings to those in need. Because clearly in a lot of cases, you have individuals that are in need that don't even realize they're in need at that particular moment, right?
Correct.
And there are challenges that are happening around them that they're unable to manage or conquer or deal with. And I just thank you very much for what you do. I think that's just got to be an incredibly challenging profession, but also rewarding in some ways, because you know that you're contributing, you're helping, that you're slowly pushing the ball down the field, you're moving the needle, whatever expression you use, you're whether it's just that one appointment or making sure the medication's taken or starting to evaluate the financial situation and make sure that bills are paid so that the lights don't get turned off or the water gets shut down, right? Sometimes, we do get to that point in our life where that's missing. But you also deal with children sometimes too, correct?
No, we only deal with adults.
Oh, only adults. Okay.
Yeah. So if it was a child, it would be a guardian. It's
Okay.
a little bit different. We deal only with adults for 18 and up. The only other population we do deal with, it's called Murphy, and those are people who were deemed incompetent to stand trial, and they're convicted of a serious crime.
Some serious.
So it's a very serious crime, and they are generally sentenced to Patton or Metro or Tascadero. And when they're being released, there are points where it's determined they are still gravely disabled. So we are now conservators over them. So you deal with a population that can be a little more dangerous.
Yeah, and you're really protecting the community in an unsung way, and people just really don't realize how important that role is in those particular situations. So again, thank you, and thank you for describing it so well. What else would you like to talk about as far as describing your job?
Just the people who do it. The people who are the deputies.
Your peers. Yes.
Thank you. Yes, my peers. They have such a passion in their heart for this. And you have to, because you have to care for people. We work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So one of us is always on call. We work on a rotation. So you can get a call at 3 o'clock in the morning that one of the conservatees took a fall. They're in the hospital. You need to sign consents. You need to understand what's going on. You go pick them up, you take them to appointments, you do all these things. If you don't have that passion, you you're not going to like what you do, and you're not going to be happy about it. You're not going to be happy when you get 20 phone calls in one day from the same person asking the same question because they just don't understand. And my peers, it's amazing. I hear them just being so kind and so considerate to everyone they deal with, and that is amazing.
I love your lanyard.
Oh.
Make it happen. Stay positive. Like, work hard. That's a great message. Like, obviously you have to have that positive attitude, and you have to be extremely patient to do what you're doing. Obviously, as you're describing this, some of us that have less patience probably not as good at handling it, but also something that I think that our current society and our social norms are missing, empathy, is having great empathy and recognizing that we have to be empathetic to other struggles, even if we don't understand them sometimes.
Yeah. And it's one of my peers recently had to take this sweet little lady out of her home. She couldn't stay in her home any longer, but she had cats. She had 3 cats, and those cats were her world. And, the normal thing would be we're going to call animal control and we're going to, see what we can do with these animals. But she didn't. She took them in. She had them taken. Got cages, took them to a groomer, had them groomed, found homes for them, so that the lady would feel better than just sending them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The person who had the cats recognizes and gets to hear how the cats are taken care of, and there's no worry of, they got put down or something like that.
Yeah.
That's great. That's a great story of taking that extra step, going beyond the normal call of the job, and just being empathetic to the circumstances and what can I do to kind of help out.
Mm-hmm.
What else do you got as far as some good stories or funny stories?
So I actually have a really sweet story. I had a gentleman who came from Patton, and he was placed at a board and care. Very, very sweet man. And I would go to this board and care every week because I had a large clientele there, and he knew what day and what time I would come, and he would be waiting outside for me, and he'd take my briefcase and carry it upstairs. He was just the sweetest man. That's the only thing I can say. And I had to take him for his Social Security interview. So myself and another deputy, we got him in the car and we took him, and he went, and on the way back, we were like, do you want a Starbucks? And he was all excited. He's like, yes, I want a tea. So we got him a tea, and we take him back. And like I said, I keep saying sweet man because he was a very sweet man. The next day, by coincidence, I got a phone call, and it was from his sister. Now, this gentleman had been in Patton 20 years, and the family didn't know where he was.
Oh, wow.
And so the sister said, I don't remember exactly how she found us. And I said, well, let me talk to him and see if he wants to see you, because you don't know the backstory.
Correct. You have no idea what the circumstances are.
So I go the next day and I talk to him and I tell him, look, your brother and sister would like to know if you'd like to see them. And he was super excited. Yes, I want to see them. Went back, called them. They made arrangements. They flew from up north down here. They went and saw him. And it was so sweet. And those moments whenever you can see that reconciliation and make someone that happy, this is someone they hadn't even talked to in 20 years. And unfortunately, he passed away. But in the 6 months that he was able to be involved with his brother and sister. So those are the things I think that all of us as deputies look for.
Making their final days much easier, more peaceful, and less complicated, and less conflict, or less stress. At least minimizing it. Obviously, not making it stress free, but the reality is that's again an amazing story. How long have you done the job?
2.5 years. So not a long time, but.
What drove you into this?
I started at the county with the Sheriff's Department, and I worked over here at CDC in booking. And I always worked graveyard because it was more interesting. And
definitely. That's a great way to describe it. Graveyard shift at the Sheriff's Department's more interesting. Exciting.
Yeah. And one night, San Bernardino PD brought in a 22-year-old young man for elder abuse of his grandmother. And they gave me the report to read. I will not go into what all that report said, but it was disgusting.
It was terrible.
It was horrible. And my thought was, who protects these people? Who is out there looking for them, looking out for them, making sure this doesn't happen? And so I went home and I did research, and I found out I needed a degree in sociology. So I went back to college and I went part-time, and I spent 10 years getting a degree. And once I got my degree, I kept applying at the Office of the Public Guardian until I think they just got sick of me.
Oh, there you go. Persistence.
And they were like, okay, just fine, whatever. Yeah.
Wow, I always love hearing these stories of what thrust people into their current role. And understanding there's like an incident or situation where they want to help or do better. And then, clearly, you worked for the sheriff's department, you worked for the county, and you were unaware that this other job was there, in the system. And that's just a really good story. I appreciate you sharing that with us.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
And the nice thing is law enforcement, San Bernardino PD, San Bernardino Sheriff, they help us a lot because sometimes our conservatees will elope. So now they're out on the streets and they're not safe. And we can't go up and grab them and put them in a car. We don't go hands-on with them. And so if we find them, we will reach out to law enforcement. And I will say they are really wonderful for us. It's more like corral them into our car or corral them into your car and let us get them over to a facility to get them stabilized again and get them back on their medication. Mm-hmm. And when we call them, they're always like, okay, we'll help you.
Well, yeah, I'm assuming that the officer is happy that he or she is not having to deal with it first themselves. They actually have somebody that's got the lead on this, and they're helping corral it versus taking responsibility from the first incident, right? So, yeah, interesting. That's great. What a powerful story this is, and an explanation of a job that I would say 99.9% of people just have no idea exists. And again, it just goes to show how important these roles are. And also, our Think a Teamster campaign that we have out there is all about awareness, is really trying to get the community to understand how important all of you are in each of your particular jobs and roles for many, many reasons. And, appreciate you coming on the show and kind of sharing. What is there anything else? You got a big long list there. It looks like you,
well,
you got some things to check off.
I didn't know if you were going to ask questions and so I wanted to make sure I had all the information. And
well, what question did you want me to ask?
She
She got 2 pages there. Look at that.
Just like to understand that we are bound to the court. Mm-hmm. So we are fiduciaries. So once a year, we have to file accountings with the court. Any property we have to file with the court that we've taken possession of. When someone passes away, we take care of disposition, working with the family. If they have no family, we take care of all of that. So it's a pretty detailed job. Probate, once they are under probate as someone who maybe has Alzheimer's or dementia, they don't have to go back to court. That's kind of a one and done. When they are LPS.
And then you carry it from there, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
When they're LPS, they go back every year and they're reevaluated to see if the conservatorship should continue or if they're doing well enough with their medications and understanding their condition that they can be taken off conservatorship.
So you've probably got some good stories or experiences where people have rebounded, moved in that direction, and been able to, create that balance and take care of themselves.
Yeah, and that's a nice thing. We have veterans also. So sometimes we have veterans that will have PTSD, but they call it, like, I don't want to say a relapse, but like where it becomes acute. And so they may have to go into a facility for a while. And I've had 2 of them that have gotten off conservatorship once they've gotten their medications figured out, what they need, get them stabilized and get them, situated around. Those are always good. There's a lot of programs for them. The VA offers a lot of really good support. So those are positives. Unfortunately, the sad part is the recidivism. You do have people who get off conservatorship that are doing well, and they fall back into, I feel good. I'm taking my medication. I don't think I need it anymore.
So they stop doing it.
And then it's cyclical, and then they end up getting picked up and taken back into a psych facility where they're deemed gravely disabled again. And those are the sad ones, that you see those same people again.
And many of you listening may not realize that, your neighbor or your neighbor's parent or grandparent, or, there's a lot of people that sometimes get into this space. It's closer to us than we realize sometimes. It's just not everybody's going to talk about it.
Right. And I think there's a stigma with mental illness that a lot of times drives people not to seek help, because unfortunately society looks down on that. If someone had diabetes, you wouldn't shame them for getting insulin. I look at it the same way. If you have something going on, it can be temporary, it can be permanent. It's a chemical imbalance. It's not something these people want. And giving them compassion is a big thing, because nobody would choose that life.
Yeah. Like, it's interesting you say that, because, it goes back to the point I made earlier, is that socially, I would say the first, we're coming on 250 years of our country. And I would say the first couple 100 years, we weren't very empathetic in this space. So we don't have a long track record of handling this as a people very well. And I'm proud of the fact that the Teamsters in this local represents literally thousands of people in the space when it comes to mental health with the community. And one of the things that sticks out to me is those that occupy that space and do the jobs like yourself have a level of compassion that not only should everybody have within a society or community, but it's one-upped a little bit too. It's actually there's even more there. And it's pretty common among most of you in that. I can't say everybody is. There's always bad apples here and there. But the reality is that sort of compassion and approach to trying to help one another is just an amazing thing. Thank you very much. Like, you're taking care of the most vulnerable people in our society. And sometimes we kind of miss that in our social exchange or our heated whatever it is from time to time. And so this show, the purpose of it is to, in many ways, all the things that we do with it is to share this too. And it's okay. Like, it's actually okay to kind of be warm and fuzzy with this kind of stuff. And this is the big guy here, the bald, rough and tumble guy trying to be, I guess, a little on the soft side here. I just have learned, especially the way I grew up, is in these moments you got to recognize them and you got to thank people, because you have no idea who you may be impacting someday. And I think those that took care of us when we were most vulnerable as kids to make sure that we had a decent future. And so someone like you taking that compassion, I just got to appreciate it to, use this microphone to say thank you. And I think more people should say thank you.
I don't expect a thank you. I honestly and truthfully do not.
But you get one.
Thank you.
What else do you want to cover? We're gonna go to break here in a minute. But
well, you touched on something about the history that we've had dealing with mental illness, and that's why they have that LPS law, where if there has to be a procedure on someone who is LPS, we have to go to court and explain to the court what they're going to do. If they're going to put them under general anesthesia, if they're going to get a filling or something like that, we still have to have the forms filled out, know exactly what's going to happen. But anything with general anesthesia has to be heard by a court, because there were very horrible things done to people who were in mentally.
Yeah, lobotomies.
That was like the minimum of things being done. So
experimentation.
Yeah.
Shock therapy. History Channel, you can see some of
shock
this stuff.
therapy is actually a good thing. It gets a bad rap because of the way it was used
Yeah,
before.
right.
But actually, if you have somebody who's catatonic, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, I'm not a clinician, I'm speaking from experience. Using it along with medication can make a huge difference. I had a client who was catatonic for almost a year. And they did do shock therapy. We did have to go to court, get a court order, and we had to get
But it wasn't experimental shock
It was
therapy.
not experimental.
Right.
Absolutely not.
Right.
And we had to go back every 3 months, and they had to show progress, and it helped her. So now she'll talk with you and things like that. But yeah.
You got something?
I have a question. What exactly is catatonic?
Where you just don't communicate and you just kind of sit and stare at a wall.
You still function to a degree?
You don't want to eat.
Okay.
You have to be coaxed to eat, bathe, do any.
You appear to be conscious, but you're not. But it's that in between.
It's almost like if someone, like you talked about a lobotomy, how they just like don't have a personality. They're not going to respond to you. Yeah. Kind of just do that whole staring off into space. Don't even acknowledge that you're in the room kind of thing. And it happens a lot whenever this person was allergic to certain medications they could have given her for this, and they couldn't do it. So it was kind of, trying to figure it out. And then the shock therapy, along with a certain medication, which I don't remember the name of, was what they used.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Now she's off the shock therapy now, but within that year, there was a huge difference. So people go, oh, shock therapy. They think of the crazy movies where
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
that's what I was thinking.
Exactly.
I wasn't thinking of the stuff that worked.
Yeah.
Well, Carla, thanks for coming on. Anything else you want to cover? Did you catch everything?
I think so. We touched on the Murphys, so it's like you said, providing necessary support so they're not inappropriately or identifiably institutionalized. So just because they have a mental illness does not mean they belong in an institution. It's not what we want to do. We want to provide them ways to integrate. They may not integrate the way you or I would, but that might be where they're at. This is their happy place, and they're good, and they're perfectly happy. One of my guys they get P&I, personal and incidental money, and he would walk up to the Walgreens and figure out what, remember the Pac-Man games from...
Yeah.
Yeah. So they have like miniatures of them, desktop versions.
Yes.
So he would go down and figure out which one he was going to buy. And he would go back every day and look at it. Every day. Every day. He'd walk back and forth. And then when I would give him his P&I money, he would be all excited, and he would go back and he would buy it. And he would bring it and he would show it to me. And then he had a little shelf and he would put them on there. Another one that loved Legos. So many Legos. But that's their happy place. They may be 40 years old, but this is where they are.
That's where they are, right?
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for what you do, Carla. We really appreciate. We've been joined by Carla. She is a deputy public guardian with San Bernardino County. She clearly has approached this profession in a very compassionate way and has an amazing story of what kind of drove her into there. And we really thank you for the work that you do. This is Randy Corrigan in the Worker Power Hour, KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and the Teamsters 1932 Broadcast Network. We're going to do a quick break, and we'll be right back. Take it away, Mark. Randy Corgan, the Worker Power Hour. That's a heavy conversation. That was heavy. For all you listeners, man, you got to appreciate how difficult that job is. Holy smokes. This is where you really got to thank a Teamster, right? Like, that's a Teamster job. I'm so proud to be a Teamster today and so proud to represent a job like that. My goodness.
That's a perfect example of why we need certain public employees right there.
Yeah, you know, it's crazy how, you know, people get into this rhetoric of you know, oh, you got to slash this and slash that and da-da-da-da. And you know, we're obviously running into some of that right now. But the reality is imagine not having those people to do that job that she just described right now. You want to talk about a negative impact for people. Man, she did a beautiful job of describing an incredibly difficult set of circumstances and situation.
More like a guardian angel.
Yeah, absolutely. They should call them the Deputy Public Guardian Angels. Yeah, I'm with you on that. So I'm going to shift gears here. Again, thank you, Carla, for coming on and telling your story. And before I shift gears, I'm going to show you this. For those of you that watch, I'm going to show you some cool stuff here. I get to our camera. Boom, that's me. That's Randy. That's the camera when I guess I'm talking and I don't have a guest, which is what we'll be on. And then this is the camera view if we have two guests. We can catch two guests. You can see in the chair, like that chair's a little out of the way there. And then this interesting camera view of Marky Poo live. Look at him. Now, for those of you that don't know what Mark looks like, now you get to see exactly what he looks like. Look at him. He's all red.
They're going to wish they never saw that.
That's funny. And so we got a new toy that we get to play with here, and we get to have fun. So we're gonna. I can zoom in. Watch, see. I can zoom out. So we're just to have a little bit of fun here. Let me go back to. Nope, not that one. This view, right, there we go. That's what I'm on right now. Yeah, we had some people complain that the camera wasn't good enough, so we got a new camera and want to thank our tech people for making that happen and improving another little improvement to the show and having some fun with it. So, hey, everybody's paying attention to it in the news right now. This is the big news item, the big, beautiful bill. Oh, my God, I don't know what is beautiful about it. It is clearly big. But there's not a lot of beauty in this situation. You have a situation that's cutting Medicaid by over $800 billion. And for those of you that don't know, there's a million people that depend on it in the Inland Empire. And this is a spot where we can showcase the fact that corporate America is getting what it wants. I'm a little disturbed by the fact that we have a situation where millionaires and billionaires are improving their financial position or continuing and increasing their tax credits, or they're escaping the responsibility of paying taxes, cuts taxes for the top 1% of income earners, and continues breaks for those that are at the very, very top that are not in the 1%, but maybe in the 5% category. And which, obviously the rest of us are not in. And then essentially takes it out of the pockets of the most needy, some of the people in which Carla just described, where they're dependent upon Medicaid and they're dependent on Medicare and they're dependent on that system. And to pull money out of that system, to me, people promised in this previous election that they weren't going to do this. They promised that they weren't going to cut these types of resources. And boom, first opportunity within a few months, you've got corporate America leaning in and prioritizing, padding their pockets that are plenty padded and taking it literally out of those that are most needy. And when we think about the over 71 million people in America that are dependent upon Medicaid in the U.S., why would we cut them? They're going to say, oh, there's waste and there's this and there's that. Okay, well, let's approach the waste and let's discuss things to be more efficient, not just gutting it. And and how does anybody defend the fact that 1% continues to get tax breaks? And so people will argue, oh, what's this have to do with labor? It has everything to do with labor. Like, it has everything to do with workers. It has everything to do with somebody who's worked their whole life, who's on Social Security at the end of obviously they've retired, they're on Medicare, Medicaid, they're utilizing the benefits that, quite frankly, they've paid for the most part, not just through their tax dollars, but the deductions in their paychecks the entire time that they worked. And then now we're shortening the promise for them. And I'm just very disappointed on how this negatively impacts them. And what it's doing now is it's showing an importance for retiree medical. And yeah, corporate America got what it wanted by gutting retiree medical. 50 years ago, most workers had a form of retiree medical. Today, it's a rarity. And the reality is their argument was, oh, Medicare, Medicaid is there at 65 to provide the benefits that are necessary. And now you cut that back. And so things are going to be more expensive. Services are not going to be paid for. And many of the benefits that are in play for those working people, because I'm assuming, obviously statistically it's not 100%, but 90+% of those that are on these benefits were working for a very long period of time. And now, corporate America sits at the table and says, oh, it's too expensive to provide retiree medical. It's too expensive to have, these types of benefits or 100% paid health care, whatever may be their argument. This now shows even more why it's important to have a union contract and to have not only a pre-65 retiree medical, but a post-65 supplement to make sure that where Medicare, Medicaid falls short, that there is a wraparound to help take care of the health of somebody who is, obviously in their more than 65. And so, what do we do with this now? What do we do? It's for those of you that voted for this administration, you need to reach out and have a conversation. It's important for you to engage this conversation. And I know that we have had members over the last few days. Matter of fact, I heard a voicemail early this afternoon, of a member specifically who had reached out to a few senators, the senator in Alaska and the senator in Maine, and was really pushing to make sure that the position was advocated for. And the reality is they voted in favor. Some people have voted in favor of this. That was opposite of what they promised to deliver when it comes to what promises were made in the last election cycle. And so if you voted for the current administration, it's up to you to hold them accountable. And as these things happen, and I've been told by many that did vote for your current administration that, I didn't know they were going to do this, or I didn't know they were going to do that. I didn't know it was that far. Well, some of us actually tried to explain to you that this is what was going to happen. And now that it's happening, you have got to hold them accountable. We all have to hold them accountable. I'm not just dumping the responsibility on those that voted for them, but there is a higher level of responsibility, because in this space, especially when it comes to public employees, and you see the attack on those jobs and the constant barrage of saying that jobs like Carla does are a waste of money, and that these people are not doing anything and they're getting rich on the government dime on tax dollars. Well, the people that are getting rich on tax dollars are people like the one who wants to go to Mars. I'm not going to mention his name, who's getting millions of dollars every single day in tax subsidies to run around and act like, a jerk all the time. And that's somebody who's the richest man in America, or one of the richest men in America, richest individuals in America, who's getting billions of dollars and then turning around and saying unionized workers don't have this right, or government workers are abusing the system. When you really evaluate this, who's really abusing the system? And I just got to say, this big, beautiful bill is pretty darn ugly. And seeing some of the testimony that is going on at the Senate and Congress right now, where you have individuals speaking about what's specifically in this bill. I get that the average person's not unpacking this. I will say that there is one positive that I can extract that happened, that was removed from the bill just a couple days ago, and that was the Teamsters. We specifically advocated that the AI moratorium was taken out of this bill, and there was something in the bill that stated states wouldn't be able to regulate how it affected your job. Clearly, we have already sponsored bills to prevent AI from negatively impacting your work and negatively impacting your ability to do your job, or in a lot of ways making your job more dangerous because you're taking, let's just use the biggest example on the freeway, is taking a human operator out of a tens of thousands of pound vehicle. The reality is the good thing is that did get pulled out. Now, when you look at the totality of this bill, and this isn't politics, this isn't like policy argument over the D's and the R's. This is just looking fundamentally at you see conservatives that are saying we shouldn't be continuing to give this sort of tax relief. In other words, we should be paying down the debt. Why are we adding to the debt while still cutting the same services that we're discussing right now? And so just because the AI moratorium clause was pulled out of the bill, I mean, I'll take that as a success. Yeah, but you can't come at me with 50 negatives, take one negative out of it, and then try to do a victory lap right now. I'm sorry. You just can't. You shouldn't have put it in there to begin with. They were trying to stuff it in, and kudos to everybody, including myself, that got on the horn and called a lot of senators to try to push back on that item, in addition to a lot of other items that were impactful to us. Thank you for doing that, and I really appreciate. We just going to have to do more of that advocacy. Calling our state representatives, calling our federal representatives, calling our U.S. senators, calling our congressional leaders. It's important for us to engage in this process and describe to them what the average person thinks about a bill like this. And those of you that are calling your senators, those of you that are actually calling your congressional leaders, keep it up, keep doing it. Let's make sure that we keep the pressure on. And for those of you that did vote for the current administration, remind them that this wasn't what you signed up for. This isn't why you elected them. I don't know if they're going to listen to you, because corporate America, again, got what they wanted. And it's important for us to remind them that they're not good stewards of this country a lot of times. Matter of fact, if you go back on our 249-year history, you guys have heard me say it a whole bunch of times. They have been bad players for most of that time. They have been responsible for killing a lot of people. They've been responsible for lots of bad policy. And it's only been working people that rise up and push better policy to protect our communities and protect workers and to protect this space to where we can actually afford to buy a home or buy goods and services and make sure that there's a decent working class that's viable to our local community. So again, you got to engage this process. Make sure that you're part of it. Make sure that you're getting involved and engaged. Also, the Department of Labor announces that they're deregulating some policies too. Some more bad news coming from this administration, where there's union. What's being eliminated is union protections for farm workers on H-2A visas, minimum wage and overtime for home healthcare workers, affirmative action requirements for apprenticeships. These are all things that labor has participated in creating and being part of for a bunch of different reasons. And I think that these things are an absolute mistake. And again, we got to hold our electeds accountable. We got to make those phone calls. We got to write those letters. We've got to make sure that we engage, we knock on doors, and we vote. And we make sure that we change the future so that we don't repeat some of these mistakes. With that, I'm going to shift into some more news and kind of give you an update on what's going on in general around everywhere, other than the big, beautiful bill, supposedly. The big, ugly, I would call it the big, ugly bill. That's how I want to phrase it. Worker power news. We got reps for Philly's largest blue-collar worker union walk out on negotiations, AFSCME District Council 33. The union, which represents workers employed in the city functions such as sanitation, the water department, police dispatch, street maintenance. Sound familiar, everybody listening? Sounds like people we represent. They do the same thing that we do over there in that big city of Philly. Anyway, they set to walk off the job on Tuesday after the union stated that it's been negotiating with the city for several months and has been unable to reach an agreement. Union leaders said they want more money, more job security, and more substantial health benefits for all of the members. So we're going to keep a close eye on what's going on over there, and I hope they have to shut it down. Okay, there's an update on Philly in front of me right now. The trash isn't being picked up. Judge rules members need to go to work. They need to go back to because the whole city is full of trash. The city. So they're actually already on strike, right? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Your trash is piled up. Oh, it's terrible. And now because the trash is piled up at the judge's house, you got to go back to work. See, the absence of labor when we withhold our labor catches people's attention. I love it. Thank you for the update there. This is I love this part of the story. I'm sorry the trash is piled up. Like honestly, I don't care. I'm obviously being sarcastic. Let the trash pile up and make sure everybody comes to an amicable agreement. Don't overreach. It's good to be fair, but the reality is those workers have decided, and hey, when are we going to have a city here in the Inland Empire walk off the job? I've been asking, hoping at some point we get to let the trash pile up on some judge's doorstep. Yeah. It's so funny. Like, we've got this system where you turn on the water, it's automatic. Trash goes away, bye-bye. You flush the toilet, it goes away, bye-bye. And then everybody panics the minute no one's there to do their job, right? Like, that's the power we have. That's worker power. That's what we were describing over and over again.
Well, they should just ignore the judge, right?
I would ignore the judge. I'd be like, nah, we're all sick now. We got sick. We were off for the day and we caught the flu. Everybody caught the flu because we're hanging out together at some picnic or something. I don't know. Again, you could be creative and lean into this and have some fun with it. Sounds like they've caught everybody's attention. Probably need to do a little bit more, but good for them. Really, really, really good for them. Marin County reaches a tentative deal with more unions as labor negotiations continue. Marin County in negotiations with all 10 labor groups that represent over 2,000 county workers. The agreements include cost of living adjustments up to 11% over 3 years, as well as continued health care and other benefit enhancements. Tentative agreements have been recently reached between Marin County Board of Supervisors and the Sheriff Staff Officers Association, as well as International Association of Theatrical Stage Employees, Local 16, the Probation Managers Association of Marin County Management Employees Association. So it's good to see some of that stuff is getting done. Marin County, for those of you who don't know, it's just above San Francisco. It's a little teeny county. It's actually a very wealthy county. There's a lot of money in that county. People make a ton of money. Stuff's very expensive up there. I guess I'm butting up against the end of my show here. I've just got a couple minutes left. And I want to close the show by, I had cut off earlier in the show, I'd cut off the report on what's going on in 1932. I was on the wrong pages. And I'll have to give an update next week and finish this long list of all the great stuff that's been happening in the local. I had, my bad, I had put it in the wrong spot. With that, what do I got, Mark? I got 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Well, been a great show. I really love the energy that Gaspar brought on the show, and I think that he as well as Carla really empowers what worker power means to us, what the Think a Teamster program in the IE means. We have buses, we have billboards. We are trying to make sure that the community understands how important these jobs are, in addition to how important it is to protect workers like Gaspar and the workers at the Amazon facility. And you may ask yourself, what can you do to build worker power? What you can do to build worker power is you can talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends, talk to your family, and you can organize a union, have a union contract. That's how you solidify worker power. Worker power is built in the process of doing that, but it also comes to it solidifies at the moment that you have a union contract, and then you got to keep that. You got to stay engaged, and you got to stay part of the system. And so our Think a Teamster program is rolled all out in addition to our Teamster Advantage program and all the other great things we do, including this live radio show that turns into a podcast. So I want to appreciate and thank all of you for listening. I appreciate you joining us and recognizing that I am a longtime organizer. I am a first-time radio host. This is Randy Corrigan in the Worker Power Hour, signing off. KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and the Teamsters Local 1932 Broadcast Network, airing live from San Bernardino. Take it away, Mark. See you next week.